I'm here with legal expert Jon-Jorge Aras, who is a partner with Scarency Hollenbeck. Jon-Jorge, welcome, and thanks for being back here with us again.
Thank you so much for having me again. Looking forward to our discussion today.
Yeah, so just last week, you were walking us through the circuit court, the Illinois Circuit Court decision around whether Trump could be on the ballot or not. We were expecting that to go up to the Supreme Court, but before that could happen, the U.S. Supreme Court earlier today ruled on the Colorado case, which was deciding if candidate Trump could stay on the Colorado ballot or not. Unanimously, the justices decided to overturn the Colorado case that was going to keep candidate Trump off of the ballot and ruled that he, in fact, could be on the ballot. So first of all, would you just let us know what you think we should know about this? And was it a surprise that the justices were unanimous in their decision?
Certainly. So just for a bit of primer, this case in front of the Supreme Court dealing with Colorado had to do with 6 voters that were challenging Trump's eligibility to be on the ballot on the basis that he engaged in an alleged insurrection. That was the basis of this case that ended up going through the Colorado Supreme Court, and that Supreme Court found that former President Donald Trump could be removed from the ballot on the basis of the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, which Section 3 of the 14th Amendment relates to U.S. officials that can hold positions within the government, and what applies in this instance, having engaged in an insurrection would potentially disqualify someone from that position. So that's the backdrop. This case gets brought up to the Supreme Court, arguments were held, and the justices today came down with a decision really just in time for Super Tuesday, which is tomorrow, which is a day when most states' primary elections are open for casting in the general election who is going to garner the amount of votes to be the candidate for the presidential election. So the timing of this was really important, and it had to come down quickly from the Supreme Court. And the result that we have today is a unanimous decision. 9 of the justices agreed that the Colorado case had to be overturned, that the decision in the Colorado Supreme Court that former President Donald Trump could be taken off the ballot was unconstitutional, and their reasoning was quite interesting. It really came down to 2 items. One of them is more legal, and the other one is more practical, but they are tied into each other. And really, as simply as it can be put, the justices found that the states in the United States of America, do not have the authority to remove an individual from a potential candidacy for the U.S. presidency. States, under the 14th Amendment, can regulate themselves and their own elections when it comes to state officials, when it comes to the state Senate or the state House of Representatives, but that the 14th Amendment did not provide the states with the authority to do what ended up happening, which is removing Trump. So that's one part. That's the legal part of it. And then there were also many practical considerations, which really boiled down to if the Supreme Court and the Constitution allowed each individual state to go through a different process of who or who couldn't be on the presidential ballot, it could cause a serious issue for the American voters and the federal government, because then the states would maintain control on an individual basis of who could be president. And then it might come down to a few states deciding who's available as a candidate and who individuals could vote for. So there was a legal consideration, there was a practical consideration, and that's how we arrive at this 9-0 decision, a unanimous per curiam decision from the court.